Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the John C. Scott Talk Show. Now in our 22nd year of continuous political talk, the political profiles of 2010 continue. In studio live, United States Senator John McCain. Senator, welcome to the show. Glad to see you.
Thank you, John. It's always glad to be back with you, and I've been with you all 22 years.
All 22 years.
Time flies when you're having fun.
Yeah, I'll never forget, it was one of your Senate campaigns. We were out in a shopping center. Nobody was there. It was out in front of a little, strip mall. Mm-hmm. And you and I are sitting out there, and it was hotter than hell, and I'm thinking, nobody's here. You and I are sitting out here talking politics, and I went, oh, this is amazing. So
right.
we have a long history.
Mm-hmm.
Senate passes this $600 million border security bill. Let's talk about what it is and what it is not, Senator.
Well, it is a good step. What it really is also is a recognition on the part of the Democrats that American public opinion is strongly behind the state of Arizona and the people in getting our border secured. Look, it was introduced by Schumer. I went down and had a discussion with him on the floor of the Senate, and the fact is that a month or two ago they never would have introduced this. They're seeing the political winds blow against them in this whole issue of blackmailing us for border security in order to, because they want to achieve their goal of, quote, immigration reform. So I'm glad they did it. It has some good provisions, such as hiring of more Border Patrol and some other provisions. It leaves out Operation Streamline, which is really a very important program. As you know, it's for repeat crossers or put in incarceration for 15, 30, 60 days. It's a great disincentive for people, the old catch and release. It does not have money for completion of the fence. But look, I'm not complaining about it. And let's hope that they will give us more money and pay for it. We wanted it to pay for out of stimulus money, which is a bad joke.
Give me the argument, if you will, please, about continuing the tax cuts, if you will.
Well, I don't believe that you need to raise anyone's taxes in difficult times. And if you think that raising taxes raises revenues, then why don't we just raise taxes? Just keep it up. Like there were periods of very high taxation when Ronald Reagan came to office. And as you might remember, the economy was hurting. It was Jack Kennedy that proposed capital gains tax cuts. So I think to raise people's taxes in these incredibly difficult economic times, you've seen the latest economic news is very bad, would be very harmful. And at the same time, we got to cut spending. We got to stop spending. The president says now he's out there on the trail for his buddy Harry Reid, who accuses us of all now of. Did you believe that statement of his about that no Hispanic could be a Republican, and his son is running against a guy for governor named Sandoval? But anyway, stop spending. You and I have never been ones who wanted to imitate our European friends, but both the conservative government in England and the German government are now doing what? Cutting spending. Cutting spending is a way out of their economic difficulties. We need to do that. Cut spending.
This primary, just a few days away, really, 12 or so. Hayworth's calling up radio shows now. I'm so surprised your number's still 20, 25, 30 points ahead of Hayworth. At one time, it looked like, before this campaign really got underway, that it might be a battle, but I think that battle's over with. I've said all along to you, Senator, if it were a fight, they would have stopped it. But what about this campaign when it's all said and done, you think?
Well, you got to work hard. You got to campaign hard. You got to convince people that you can. As I told you way back months ago, the key to this race is who can be most effective to help Arizona in these terribly difficult times. Look, I have town hall meetings all the time. I've had them for many, many years, and I've never seen people hurting as much as they are today, staying in their homes, small businesses staying alive. I just met with some community bankers that are having great difficulties here in Tucson. And so I've been fighting against the stimulus package, against Obamacare. I've led the fight. I have been protecting our bases, including Davis Mountain, as you know. And so And by the way, the Netherlands, as you know, are going to train their pilots at Tucson International Airport in the F-16. So is Singapore, and there'll be other countries as well. But I stray from the subject. Work hard, fight hard, prove to the people of Arizona that you're asking for every vote, and take nothing for granted. You and I, over the years, have known incumbents who thought somehow they were going to be rewarded for past service. What people want to know is what you are going to do for them, not what you have done for them.
Yeah, I lost a rerun to the Senate by 86 votes. That'll make you think, well, shoulda, coulda, woulda. You know? By the way, you're 20,
and ask for their votes.
Yeah, you do have to ask, don't you? I mean, you never can take their vote for granted. You're 20 points up against a possible Democratic challenger, Rodney Glassman. Democrats have got a four-way run here to nominate somebody against you. I think most people believe, certainly this primary is almost over with. But you have to go on and run another campaign.
Sure, and I enjoy campaigning. I love traveling around. Tomorrow, Governor Brewer and I are going to be traveling around the state to Yuma and out to Lake Havasu and over to Payson and around the state. I love campaigning. It's more fun than most anything. And I also believe, as you've heard me say before, a fight not joined is a fight not enjoyed.
Let's talk a little bit about this economy.
Yep.
I think you're so right on when you simply say people are hurting. I've never known it like this. And you know, we're a small business. We sell to other small businesses. There's not a person I know that's secure in their job. I don't care how long they've held it. I don't think there's anybody that thinks my retirement is certain. I think people are worried about their kids' education. This is a time of great anxiety, and you've noticed it, I'm sure, the anger in America. But I've not known it this way for at least as long as I've covered politics, which is 40-some years. It is really a very difficult time for America.
I have never known more difficult times. And I'd be glad to have a discussion with some of our Democrat friends about the, quote, stimulus, jobs created, jobs saved, all that. Look, here's what the President said, the Secretary of Treasury and his head economic advisor. If we pass the stimulus package, unemployment would be at a maximum of 8%. It's now 9.5%. The stock market is very shaky, but most importantly, the entire underpinnings of our economy are very, very tough situation. They are revising down the GDP growth for the last quarter, and there's others who really are saying that we are in a very, very slow, tough recovery. And what have we done to get in this position? A $1.1 trillion debt on our kids and our grandkids. That's what this stimulus package was. It's disgraceful.
Let's talk about, there were so many people that were very disappointed in the Bush years, especially the last two, where the economy was just so literally on decline. Now people are very disappointed in the Obama administration. What would be next for Republican-controlled House and Senate? How would that be different than the last Bush years, which seemed to be very difficult for America?
I would remind you that the Democrats took control of Congress in 2006 election, but the point is that during the Bush years, Republicans let spending get out of control. We did the earmarking, the pork barreling, the corruption, and Americans punished the Republican Party. I believe that we have now an environment where we could take control of both House and Senate. But it has to be something to vote for as well as something to vote against. And that's why I've been working with some of my colleagues for some kind of a commitment of several issues. Balanced budget amendment to the Constitution, do away with earmarking and pork barreling, repeal and replace Obamacare, line item veto. You know, you could do 5, 6, 7 things and say, we promise we will do these things if you'll give us another chance. And we've got to do that, I think, sometime in September.
You're talking about now,
yes,
to move
September.
ahead now.
Yes.
There obviously could possibly be a lame duck Congress. Do you think that's going to happen?
It'll probably happen. It'll probably happen. By the way, you mentioned about the tax breaks extended.
Sure, indeed.
You know that the estate tax is about to, on the 1st of January of 2011, would go up to 55%. Now, I'm worried that there might be a number of unexplained deaths of mothers-in-law if we had it go up to 55.
This is going to be a Politico tomorrow. You know that. McCain predicts deaths of mother-in-laws. Really? Yeah,
you got to joke
show.
around, but the fact is, John, as you know, seriously, you would see a huge jump. And I believe that people that work all their lives, if they want to, they should be able to pass on to their children and their grandchildren the fruits of their labor. And if we allow the estate taxes to jump right back up again, I think it's another blow. But so I think that when we look at the overall situation economically, let's stop this Keynesian steroids that we've been on and get over and do what is the conservative economists, and that is stop the spending, reduce some of these programs that are completely out of control. You may know Tom Coburn, Senator from Oklahoma, and I put out a study just, as you know, last week called Summer Blues, 100 stimulus projects that had nothing to do with jobs, including feeding several $100,000 to feed cocaine to monkeys. So stop the spending, and then we can begin to get on a path towards a balanced budget.
Money coming to the state of Arizona as well as the other states from the latest move by Congress. Is that of any help to the states? We're hurting here in Arizona. You know that as well. And we'll probably face $1.5 billion deficit come January when the new lawmakers are sworn in. We're in trouble here, and the last stimulus money did save jobs. I don't know whether this one will, but what about this money will come to the states?
Well, when you say that it saves jobs, does it really save jobs for very long? Remember the Cash for Clunkers program? Auto sales went up, and then as soon as the program was over, they went back down again. I think that if you balance what we've done to our kids and our grandkids with a $13 trillion debt and a $1.4 trillion deficit, then I don't think it's worth it. I don't think that you can justify doing what we're doing to our kids and our grandkids. There's $40,000 debt for every man, woman, and child in America. 41 cents out of every dollar is borrowed. We can't keep it up. And so tough decisions need to be made. Tough decisions are going to have to be made in the state of Arizona. And what's the difference between the legislature in Arizona and Washington? We print money. They don't.
Let's talk about Afghanistan. It seems like the word quagmire keeps coming back up. Are we in a quagmire, Senator?
No, it's very difficult. July was the bloodiest month of the war, for which we grieve. August will be tough, too. We can succeed. We've got great General Petraeus. We've got great men and women who are serving. As you know, I was over there over 4th of July. But the thing that bothers me the most is the president's commitment to leaving the beginning of next year. John, you can't tell the enemy you're leaving and not expect them just to wait till you leave. There's a story about a high-ranking Taliban that was captured, and in his interrogation, he said to the interrogator, "You've got the watches, we've got the time." And so if the president would just say what Secretary Gates has been saying, and that is it'll be conditions-based withdrawal, just as it has been conditions-based when we are leaving Iraq, then I have very great confidence. But it's long and hard and tough.
We are leaving Iraq. Is this the time to get out?
Yeah, they'll stumble along. They'll have their problems with their government, and they'll have continued attacks, but they'll be the only functioning democracy outside of Israel. They will have an environment where people can make progress in the social, economic, and other ways. And so we have succeeded in Iraq. Is it messy? Yes. Democracy is messy, as you know.
Let's talk about, let's stay in that part of the world for a moment, if you will. Iran still threatens, still obviously headed toward nuclear arms. What should that policy be? I mean, you talked about it so much on the campaign trail a couple of years ago. We're where we are, and we are where we were. But where do we need to go?
We need to hope, and I'm not optimistic, that the sanctions that have been imposed will bring about a change in Iranian behavior. I don't believe that that's going to happen, but I think that we need to try as hard as we can. That and more strict sanctions. We also need to speak out on behalf of the people who are oppressed and repressed by this very terrible government. And then tough decisions are going to have to be made. And it's a decision that the Israelis may, and I emphasize may, feel forced to make, to act militarily. They're certainly in a quandary. They do act militarily, then the Arab world comes down on them. They don't, then they're facing an existential threat. As far as the United States is concerned, I think it's really a call that has going to have to be made by the President of the United States. But a nuclear-armed Iran means a nuclear-armed Middle East.
If you win and Republicans take over the Senate, you'll be head of the Armed Services Commission?
Yes, indeed.
And what would that direction be for that committee? One of the most powerful jobs on earth.
I think that our first obligation, obviously, is to provide for the men and women who are serving in the military with the necessary training and equipment they need to carry out their missions. But the second thing we need to do, John, and it's very important, is we have got to reform this weapons acquisition system that we have that leads to such dramatic overruns. Now, the F-35 is going to be coming to Luke Air Force Base and to Marine Corps Air Station Yuma, and yet there have been incredible delays, more than double the cost as originally estimated, and it's unacceptable burden on the taxpayers to have these continuous cost overruns. We've got to reform the acquisition system in this country. And then third of all, we're going to have to shape a military that meets the challenges of the 21st century. And the latest, of course, and we could spend a whole program on it, is cyber war. I mean, this is a very serious situation. This WikiLeaks that just took place and the penetration of some of our most heavily guarded computer systems have been hacked into by the Chinese and others. This whole cyber war issue is going to be the part of the new challenges of the 21st century.
Are we ready for that at all in America?
No, but I think we're still got the smartest people in the world in the United States of America, certainly as far as high tech is concerned, and we're going to have to marshal that talent.
Comment on Senator Stevens, please.
Well, he was a strong advocate for the state of Alaska. He served in World War II. He was highly respected. He and I had strong disagreements on earmarking, but we mourn his passing and appreciate all that he did for the state of Alaska.
Take a few moments and ask people to vote for you one more time, and obviously, your figure that is legend in Arizona, and you ask people to send you back to the Senate for another term.
The most humbling and honorable experience of my life is to have the honor of serving the people of Arizona in the Congress of the United States. These are very difficult times, both domestically and national security-wise. I believe that I can be most effective in helping Arizona and its citizens through this very, very difficult times. And I think I have a record that meets those times as far as being a true Ronald Reagan conservative.
Senator McCain, it's always good to talk with you after 22 years of interviews with you. It's been a very long run. So many people wish you well. I thank you for being on the show. You've always been accessible to us, and I always appreciate that. I think people like talking to the U.S. Senator. They like to hear what you have to say, and I think they appreciate you being on the show, and I think they appreciate this run for another term in the United States Senate. Thank you for your service to this country. Thanks for keeping the people of southern Arizona informed and educated for all these years, John. Thank you, Senator. U.S. Senator John McCain of the John C. Scott Talk Show, accommodating his television schedule. He's going to move on to a TV interview. We appreciate him being on our show today. Jim Ninson with the Weekly breaks down the pages of the Weekly on radio next.